The stars will align on November 4th when the top buyers from around the globe gather at Fasig-Tipton for the world's premier breeding stock event. One spectacular evening with a catalog featuring no less than 70 graded stakes winners or producers, with nearly half of those being Grade 1s. Plus a stellar selection of Breeders' Cup winners, champions, and selected weanlings. No other sale packs as much energy and excitement into a single session. Join us for a night of stars, the November sale at Fasig-Tipton. Where would you be?
Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer kicking off the Saturday Pick 6 on Breeders' Cup Saturday at Churchill Downs with race number 6, the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. Let's take a look at this field. Our coverage is presented by the November sale at Fasig-Tipton, to be held the day after Breeders' Cup Saturday at 3 p.m. at Lexington, Kentucky. And just look at the star power in that sale coming out of the Filly and Mare Turf by itself. 4-Star Crook, the number 1, consigned to the sale. The number 4, Paved, consigned to the sale. Furiously Kissed, consigned to the sale, and a Raving Beauty. All those 4 horses entered in the sale, and you've got plenty more horses on the 2-day Breeders' Cup extravaganza entered at the November sale. This race, the theme, Chad Brown versus the world. Chad's got several in here, of course, and we have to talk about Sister Charlie, the number 6 at 3-1 on the morning line. She's a head and a neck away from being a perfect 5 for 5 in North America. She's earned triple-digit buyer speed figures in her last 4 races. She beat 3 of these common foes last time out in the Beverly D, and she overcame a dawdling pace to do so. Yep. That being said, she's missed some time with a little problem here and there, and she's coming into this race off a bit of a layoff.
Yeah, it's true. We'll see what happens with that. I'm not going to concern myself too much with that. I think the real question with her in this race is, and she's been, as you mentioned, she's been good in all of her races in North America. The question is she just facing some much better horses in this race? Because I think that she is. I liked her Beverly D maybe more than I liked any race that she's run since she's gotten over here, aside from the Jenny Wiley, where she was super impressive. And she did overcome a slow pace to win it. I feel like she won that race a lot easier than the margin of victory will suggest. She was a half length in front of 4-Star Crook in that race. 4-Star Crook was never catching this horse. She was much the best in there. She is facing a tougher field this time.
4-Star Crook basically followed Sister Charlie into the lane and had every chance, and Sister Charlie just outfooted her. 4-Star Crook came back. She won the Grade 1 Flower Bowl, maybe a Grade 1 in name only this year, but I thought she was impressive doing it because there was no pace whatsoever. She was sitting back in last, and she just blasted that field. There was never a moment where you doubted that she was not going to win that race. 4-Star Crook has always been solid for Chad. Yeah. She's won 12 of 19, 1.6 million in the bank. This is the strongest class test of her career.
Yeah, it certainly is. She deserves the chance to run in here, though.
And she beat Sister Charlie in the New York.
She did. That's sort of an odd race, though. It's hard to really make heads or tails of that performance. Listen, she's in the best form of her life, and as you say, for a horse who shows up and runs a good race every time, the last one's the best race she's ever run, and now she's a Grade 1 winner. She's just really solid, really good. I will not be surprised when she is right there at the end again on Saturday.
Is this distance a little far for a Raving Beauty who scored going a mile in the First Lady last time out? That was a heads-up ride by John Velasquez. This was a mare, if you recall, in the Diana, broke great. Right on top. They raided her right into the pocket, and she got completely slammed around, turning into the stretch. And then in the Ballston Spa, Irad broke well with her, and they let Kadura make the running, and she just walked on the lead. This time, John was like, I'm handy with a Raving Beauty. I'm going to take control. And a Raving Beauty was able to hold on. But what do you think of her stretching out?
Yeah, I don't really like her at this distance all that much. I mean, you can go back through her form in Europe. They stretched her out a few times, and I think she just found those distances a little too far. So we'll see what happens here. It is worth mentioning, though, as you talked about the Diana, it's not impossible that she would have won that race and beaten Sister Charlie that day if she didn't get stopped on the turn. She ran a great race that day. I think she's really good. And I like her form since she's gotten over here, and I like that she's got a little bit of speed. I'd be very worried about the distance, though.
Chad also has the 12 Santa Monica, who had no shot in that Glens Falls Stakes. I give Jose Ortiz a lot of credit. He put her as close to the pace as possible, but Lady Montour was able to go 54-2, 121-1, and she scooted on home. Last time out in the E.P. Taylor, though, that was a race I thought she got a nice trip, a nice setup, and a good European ran her down. And the Europeans in here might be better than Sheikha Reka.
I would think they are. Chad's got a lot of firepower in this race, but this is one that I would be just shocked if she was anywhere at the end.
The fifth entrant from the Brown Barn is the number 2, Theus, who we thought might have been a rabbit in the Grade 1 Beverly D, but wasn't ridden like one by Florent Giroux. As a matter of fact, Flo almost stole the race. Went to the front, back down the fractions. This horse hung in there for 3rd, but if she couldn't win with that kind of scenario, it's hard for me to imagine her winning here. I wonder if she is in here to ensure a pace.
Yeah, maybe she is. Maybe she'll just go out there and make the run in here. Either way, she's in very tough.
Let's talk about a couple of the European entrants in this race right now, beginning with the number 3, Wild Illusion, who won the Group 1 Prix de l'Opéra last time out at 1.25 miles. Now, 1.5 miles has proven to be a little bit too far for her. We'll split the difference here at 11 furlongs, but she just is able to get good trips. She sat in mid-pack, eased out, and was able to fly on home. She got a good pace that day, but she was able to outfinish Magic Wand at 1.25 miles. Magic Wand beat her at 1.5 miles. Who has the edge at 11?
It's close. It's very interesting that they meet in the middle now. They're both really good horses. Wild Illusion, I liked her win last time. I thought Magic Wand ran well in that race too, but I liked that this horse sort of sat off it and was able to relatively easily outfinish Magic Wand in that race. I loved her win 2 starts back in the Nassau though. That was a race where, yes, she was able to make the early lead in that race, but they went for home very early in that race. There was a long way to go, and she put that entire field into a drive behind her, and she kept going through the stretch. I really like that win. I like how handy she is. She's going to get a great trip in this race.
She came with the outside rally. Magic Wand tried to sneak up the rail. I thought Ryan Moore did everything right in that race, boy. He saved every inch of ground. The hole opened up. She shot on through. Wild Illusion had the momentum on the outside. They had a nice little stretch drive going. Wild Illusion got the better by a length. I think Aidan O'Brien is hoping A, Lasix, B, longer distance.
Yeah, a little bit longer distance could work in her favor. I do like the fact, though, that he cut her back to the 1.25 miles last time. I think it's the right thing to do to sort of sharpen her up for this race because she clearly is better at 1.5 miles, but she ran well last time. I'm not going to be surprised if she can turn the tables on Magic Illusion again.
Number 5, Princess Yaiz, actually has 2 wins over a synthetic surface, but she scored last time out in Group 2 company going a long distance, 1 mile and 9/16. Prior to that race, however, this is a sort of an in-and-outer, running decently in stakes company, decently against handicap company. Big step up in class here.
Yeah, she's facing some good horses. I mean, she ran well over the summer, though. 3rd to Sea of Class, who's a really good 3-year-old filly. She broke through on turf last time in a Group 2, going a lot longer. Now she's got to cut back a little bit. That could be problematic for her as well as the competition.
I think the 14 Azira has a lot of ability, renowned international connections, Frankie Dettori, Dermot Weld. This horse had a 3-race win streak snapped when a very good 3rd in the Yorkshire Oaks on August the 23rd, a Group 1 race. She came right back to score against Group 2 company, and the 5th place source out of that race came right back to win a Group 3. Lasix on, 1.5 miles, no problem. It seems she handles any kind of ground. The question is this outside post.
Yeah, she did not draw a good post on the far outside, but other than that, there's really a lot to like about her, especially if she's going to be a big price in there. She has to improve again, I think, but she's really headed the right way. I really like her form so far this year.
Athena shipped in to take on 3-year-old fillies in the Belmont Oaks. She won that race in fast time, didn't really fire against Sister Charlie in the Beverly D, then came back and outran her odds, went 4th behind Roaring Lion and Saxon Warrior and DeVee in the Irish Champion Stakes, and then was 51-1 behind Wild Illusion. Didn't fire. I mean, boy, you run that well against Roaring Lion, you're 51-1 against Wild Illusion. That must talk about how strong that race was.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. You know, it's funny because when you go back and watch that race, she was sort of jammed in the pocket for a long way there. That trip may not have worked out that well for her. She ran okay in that race. I do think she's in against a couple of 3-year-old fillies who just might be quite a bit better than her in Wild Illusion and Magic Wand, but she's okay. The Belmont Oaks that she won when they shipped her over here, that was one of those, she caught a bunch of horses who don't want to go that far. She just ran them over.
Paved, another one consigned for the November sale at Fasig-Tipton. Fine 2nd last time out in the Group 1 Rodeo Drive, but she had a nice trip. She had a nice pace scenario. She was just no match for the razor-sharp exclaimer Vasilika, and Vasilika would be a long shot in this race.
Yeah, Vasilika would be a long shot in this race. She was obviously no match for Athena in the Belmont Oaks. She's just in tough here.
Smart Choice pulled off a 20-1 upset in Peru last time out. We don't see Todd Pletcher with too many Peruvian imports. I know she's a Group 1 winner over there. She did it at 1.25 miles. Now she's going to do it at 1.5 miles against much tougher horses.
I mean, I guess they really like her to enter in the Breeders' Cup in her first start. We'll see what she does. It does feel like she's just taken a gigantic step up in class.
I thought Mom's on Strike had every chance last time out in the Ramsey Farm, and I know Tricky Escape is a nice horse, but she's more of a listed grade 3, grade 2 type at the best. Tricky Escape did a lot of the running in that race. Mom's on Strike, maybe Ambitious moved a little bit too soon in that race, but she had the lead, she had the momentum, and Tricky Escape came back on, or perhaps that's why Joe Sharp's adding blinkers.
Yeah, that's interesting that they put blinkers on. I mean, she's just one of the horses in here who's just in way too tough.
And we'll talk about Furiously Kissed, who seems a bit overmatched. She's a turf maiden. She's never at the board from 3 lifetime starts. Good fourth last time out in the Spinster at 70-1 against Blue Prize, but I think she's more of a dirt horse. They're taking a shot before the Fasig-Tipton sale.
Have they ever taken a Breeders' Cup race off the turf? That would give her a little bit of a bigger look.
Let's take a look at our top picks of the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf. Mike and I are in agreement with Wild Illusion. We think the horses coming out of the Grade 1 Prix de l'Opera, they're just better than the horses that Chad's sending out, and I think that's an opinion many will question, but we're both going to go with Wild Illusion.
Yeah, I like her recent form quite a bit. I like her running style, too. She's a very handy horse. I think she'll get a good trip in this race. Both she and Magic Wand, I think they're very dangerous horses in this race.
Mike's going to go 3-10, 14, and 6. I'm going to go 3-10, 1-9 in the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf. Approximate post time is 2:04 Eastern on Saturday at Churchill Downs, and our coverage is presented by the November sale at Fasig-Tipton.